Hi, welcome to Gloria's Gab Live. It's Christmas week. Lots of great things are happening, and while most of us are preparing for Christmas and New Year's, um, Junior Orange Bowl volunteers are just busier than ever doing volunteer work. And one of my favorite people that does year in year out the basketball tournament for the Junior Orange Bowl is Chuck Little. Welcome back, Chuck.
Glad to be here, Gloria.
Yeah, he actually Chuck is returning. He was here like
2 years ago.
2 years ago, and he's been dealing with a lot, but overcoming it all. And we have a great tournament coming up. We're going to talk about today. But before we start, I want to thank my sponsor, South Florida PBS. And oh my gosh, there's so many good things coming up on South Florida PBS. On Christmas Day, my favorite show, called The Midwife. Uh, they're having a holiday special, and then we've got if you're not a member, you need to be. Look at all these great. You get a magazine every month, and it tells you all the great things that are happening. Ivolo, lots of great performances. So if you have not signed up and you're not a member yet, you need to sign up. It'll be the best Christmas gift you've ever given yourself. Anyway. Chuck, let's talk about how we got a tournament coming up next week, 28th to 30th, right?
Yes.
But let's talk about a little bit about history, because we were just talking about something that's such a great story this year. You started out when I was executive director. Andy Weston was your predecessor, and Andy Weston passed it off to you, and it was a little tournament initially. And now it's become a national tournament. And it's all because of your love of basketball and your just involvement. Hardcore, this guy is 24/7 on these things. And it's not just once a year. You do stuff all the time. But tell us about your connection with Andy and then what's happening this year.
Well, Andy is a former Junior Orange Bowl member and a friend. We actually were in Kiwanis together through various clubs that we belong to. He started this 33 years ago, and it's changed in formats a couple of times. It started off as a youth tournament, then it migrated to a high school boys tournament, and then when I took it over after about 8 years, I added the girls part of the tournament. Right. I started inviting out-of-town teams, out-of-state teams, even international teams. And so Andy handed the reins over to me about that time. And so, but we've kept in touch. And as we've gone through time, it just so happened that this year, Andy's grandson is playing for Jupiter High School. And so I decided to include them in the field. And so now we're going to have a former Junior Orange Bowl Basketball Classic chairman see his grandson playing in our tournament.
So Andy's coming back for that game.
He's coming down for that game.
I may need to check that one out.
Right. So
I haven't seen Andy in forever.
It was a good storyline. Listen, this is now my 25th year of doing the tournament. And one of the things that you appreciate is over time, kids who have played in our tournament are now adults, and they'll have kids who are now playing basketball and playing in our tournament. We've had several instances of that. We've also had young people playing in our tournament who grew up and became coaches and are now coaching teams who are playing in our tournament. And so there's several generations always involved in our activities, and it's fun to relate to that on a personal level.
Well, and you were telling me about a coach that was your first out of state. Was that it?
19 years ago, I was introduced to a coach in Madison, Mississippi. And it was a referral from another college coach that I think highly of, Stan Jones from Florida State. Mm-hmm. And so Stan introduced me to Richard Duays, who's a coach at Madison Ridgeland Academy. He was the first out-of-state team that we invited, and that was in 1999. So actually it's 22 years ago.
Wow.
And so we've stayed in touch from time to time, but he called me back in the April-May timeframe and asked if it would be possible to come back. They've had a very nice run over the last 4 or 5 years, very competitive teams. They've got a very nice team this year. And so I decided to bring them back. And so
But
it's
how amazing that he's been a coach for that many years for the same school.
right. He's now
He
won.
must be really good.
Well, he's won between the boys and girls teams he's
Yeah.
coached. He's won over 1,700 games.
Is
And
that
so
right?
no,
Wow.
but it's also it's a good personal relationship that
Oh, yeah.
it's nice to kind of rekindle that relationship, and also see some good teams play.
I have a feeling this is going to be a really special tournament for you with Andy coming and this old coach
Right,
coming back.
and we have former champions in the field.
Yeah.
Lakota East High School from the Cincinnati area has won our tournament back about 6 years ago. They're coming back. Miami Senior girls who have played with us before, they've won a championship before. They're coming back this year. We've got some new teams that have not been with us before. St. Raymond's out of the Bronx is a very strong program.
Wow.
Year in and year out. This is their first time to come to our tournament. Lake Norman High School out of North Carolina is girls team. This is their first time to come with us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good mixture of new teams and old friends.
Yeah, and not to mention the economic impact on South Florida. This 3-day tournament, people come before, they stay a little bit after. This is just such a great story that a lot of people don't know about. That's why I really wanted to have you on, so people would say, "Oh my gosh, we've got this!" And where are you holding the tournament?
We're hosting again this year at Westminster Christian School
Yeah.
in Palmetto Bay,
Yeah.
6855 Southwest 152nd Street. They've been excellent hosts for us last year, and they've agreed to continue to host us again this year.
And what are the COVID protocols if somebody wants to go to the game, and can they buy tickets ahead of time?
They can buy tickets at the door.
Mhm.
We're asking people to wear masks. Fans who come in will wear masks at the games. Obviously, the players on the floor won't be, but the fans, we're asking them to wear their masks to come attend the games.
Right.
Other than that, it's basketball is normal.
And I know every year you always have a kind of a community service component for your out-of-state team. So what's happening this year?
This year, I believe it's either the 14th or 15th year that we've done this. We work together with the WOW Center in the Kendall area.
And explain what the WOW Center
The WOW
is.
Center is a center for developmentally challenged adults who now, as adults, most are still living with their families. Some live in group homes. But it's an opportunity for our teams to interact with them and do some basketball activities on the basketball court that they have there at the WOW Center. And it's something that they look forward to at the WOW Center, and also the teams who participate in this years later will come back to me and say, I don't really remember the game so much, but I do remember the WOW Center.
Yeah.
Last year, we were actually very fortunate that 3 years ago, a young lady from Paul VI High School played in our tournament. She was on the team, one of the teams that came to do the WOW Center. 2 years later, she was named the Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year.
Wow.
And as part of that, they allowed the kids to pick a charity to donate money to. And so she was so impacted by the trip to the WOW Center that she named the WOW Center as the recipient of a $1,000 grant from Gatorade.
Oh my goodness.
She's now playing at the University of Southern California. But that 1 hour visit that she made with her team was that impactful? A special impact on her that she remembered it 2 years later without even us getting involved.
Isn't that's incredible?
Very
yeah.
Moment. Yes.
Yeah. So we actually have some video on the WOW Center. Uh-oh. Okay, got it ready to go? All right, look at this, guys. Oh, you got an audience. cute. And you stay there for about an hour, or how does that work?
It's about an hour to
Yeah.
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's very free form. But the key thing is the interaction between the players and the adults there.
Yeah.
This was a year, I believe, Bullis High School from Maryland, and then there was a girls team from Tulsa, Oklahoma. But the main thing is just the enjoyment that they have of working with the adults, and the adults um, really enjoy having the kids out there to play with them. There's very little things that I have to tell them. I just kind of put them in a situation where they enjoy each other, and they have a great time doing it.
Oh wow, she got it.
And the young kids that we have as videographers do this for us, and they've always done an excellent job of capturing the fun moments and seeing the people enjoy.
Yeah. Oh, that's adorable. Yeah. So we do have the like. Do you have the lineup guys that we can put up to let people know?
Yeah, you can do the boys first, and then the girls.
Do the boys, and you want to just tell us about how this works?
Well, again, all the games are at Westminster Christian School.
Yeah.
Games start on Tuesday, December 28th, and the championship game is on Thursday, December 30. This is the boys bracket, where we'll have 4 games each day. And then blended in, we'll have alternating girls games and boys games. And so this is the 4 boys games that we'll see starting on Tuesday, December 28th. If you could put up the other bracket, it'll show the girls games that are showing at the same time. And right. And so as you'll see, there are different times throughout the day, but we have teams on both sides. We've got 2 teams from North Florida. Bartram Trails out of the Jacksonville area. Yeah. Florida State University High is out of Tallahassee. Lake Norman is out of North Carolina. On the boys' side, St. Raymond's from New York. Lakota East is from Ohio. And Madison Ridgeland is from Mississippi, along with Jupiter out of Palm Beach. So it's a good cross-section of teams.
How long does it take you to put together this lake?
It's a process that kind of starts in the March, April timeframe. The coaches start contacting us, asking about it. Many times it's referrals from prior coaches who've been here, or it's repeats from teams that have been here with us before. Mm-hmm. And then we'll reach out to some of those coaches, and it's a process that may take a month or 2. This year we had some challenges, primarily because of financial reasons.
I was going to say, they have to raise the funds to come.
Right. They travel here on their own. We'd help them out with hotels, but getting down to South Florida is not an inexpensive proposition.
Not at all.
So it's an evolving process that after a couple of months, we have 8 boys teams and 8 girls teams, and we try to mix it up and have our South Florida representative teams and the out-of-state
in the
teams,
mix,
so that it gives everybody a chance to see new teams, so they're not playing the same teams.
Exactly. Yeah. So. And do you, speaking of being able to help them with their hotels and everything, I know that the Kiwanis Club is like a huge supporter. Tell us about that, and how long has that been going on? A long time.
There's 2 ways. The Kiwanis Club of Miami that I belong to supports us through a grant that they receive funds from the Palsy Memorial Fund. Mm-hmm. And so they're a big supporter of ours. But in addition to that, they also help us out with volunteers. And then also they went one step further, that we decided 2 years ago for the first time that because the budget impact on many of these teams traveling, we wanted to help out one more step. Mm-hmm. And so we provided lunches for them that the Kiwanis clubs each chipped in some money. And so this year we're doing that again. And so we're going to be providing lunches each day for all the teams participating in our
Oh,
tournament.
that's huge.
And so Kiwanis has helped fund that, and also, again, volunteering people to help us out with that.
That's great. How many volunteers must you need?
Well, on a daily basis, there may be 20 or 30 different volunteers. We get key clubs from local high schools. We get high school kids volunteering.
So they get their community
We-
service hours.
To get community service hours.
Yeah.
We have adults who just volunteer all the time and help
Yeah.
us out. We have our table staff is there, many of whom have been with us for over 10 years, and
So,
also do work for the Miami Heat and also for the University of Miami. But we've got a very strong lineup of helping staff that is going to be there each day to run the tournament well, and then announcing the tournament throughout the tournament week.
Yeah.
Jay Rokeach, who's a longtime PA announcer, is going to be doing games Tuesday, Wednesday, and then through most of Thursday, and then Thursday night for the championship night, Mike Biamonte, who's the voice of the Heat, will be
wow.
in to announce the
How fun.
two championship games. And Mike's been doing that for us for easily the last 10 years.
Yeah. Well, you are, for me, you're Mr. Basketball here, certainly for the Junior Orange Bowl, but I am always amazed at how you're able to grow this over the years. And it's hard to believe that it's been so many years.
Yes, like I say, this is now.
And your wife, Nancy, does she love this?
She puts up with me.
That's what I thought.
I won't say that basketball is her favorite sport, but she knows it's.
She's
my
learned
passion.
to adapt.
Right.
Is that it?
And so it's something that we do because we love it.
Yeah. So now, this year, when are you going to the Wow Center? What day?
December 28th,
Oh, you're
Tuesday,
gonna go the
December
first day?
28th at
Okay.
10 a.m. And so Lakota East boys team and Lake Norman girls team are going to be the two teams participating in that.
How do you decide which teams are going to be the ones that go to the Wow Center?
Well, it depends. Actually, Lakota East, because they had been with us before and had done the Wow Center before, specifically asked to return
Oh.
because it was a very positive thing for them. Lake Norman had not been with us before, and so it was a good opportunity to introduce them to the activity.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's been more than a few teams that when they contact me about coming back, especially on a repeat, the first thing they'll say, well, we'll come back, but we do want to do the Wow Center, because
Isn't that funny?
it's very, very positive, very impactful to their experience.
It's amazing. I think more and more sports teams are getting into that, giving back to the community, and it's just wonderful to see. But on this level, I don't see it as much. So this is like when you started this so many years ago. I don't remember any other youth tournaments that were doing things like that. So I applaud you for that.
2006 is the year that we started it.
Yeah.
And a good friend and coach, Kevin Sutton, who at that time was coaching Montverde Academy in the Orlando area, mentioned to me that when they brought their teams around the country, they wanted to do community service outreach activities. And
Yeah.
so we actually formed this project through those discussions. We initially thought about maybe going to hospitals, but there were logistical problems in dealing with hospitals and infectious disease.
Oh yeah.
And so we came upon the Wow Center as a project that I had already had familiarity with. And so through Kevin's guidance, we formed this project, and it took off immediately. And
Was
so
the Wow Center something that the Kiwanis Club had already been?
yes,
involved
and
in?
yeah, we had already
Okay.
been involved in it, and so I was already familiar with all the staff and the people
Oh,
and their concept and what they do. And so it was a natural fit once we put it together.
yeah. So now, have you been a past president of the Kiwanis Club over the years, or
Yes, I
How-
have been
yeah.
actually
he's been a past president of everything?
two different Kiwanis clubs, but the current Miami Kiwanis Club, I've been past president. I'm still the treasurer this year and sit on the board. It's a small, active club, and so pretty soon, pretty much everybody will end up being a president.
You're
for a
also
year.
past president of the Junior Orange Bowl.
Past president of the Junior Orange Bowl in, I think, the 2004, 2005 year.
Yeah.
And so after I finished that, I just moved back over to my basketball chair. where I've stayed.
Did you really give it up the year that you were the president of the Junior Orange Bowl?
No,
I didn't
no,
think so.
I did both
He,
jobs that
he's the
time.
only one. He's the only one that just said, "No, I'll just do everything."
No, it was.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's hard
but
for
it,
you to give up basketball when you've got all of those contacts.
well, but also volunteers fill in, and so even
Mm,
though there were extra times that I spent in the president's chair, uh, helping and coordinating all the other. At that time, we had 21 events. It was an extra amount of time, yes, but there are also volunteers that do most of the work that the committee does. And so, as whether you're the president or your committee chair, you're really in a job of coordinating and enhancing as opposed to just doing it all. There are
right.
people that step up and do that volunteer work.
Actually, that's a great thing about the Junior Orange Bowl. It really is kind of volunteer driven. When I was executive director, there's two of us, and if we hadn't had people like you, there would be no way. We had 17 events at one point. It was like there's no way to do that without like people that are so dedicated. Uh, and I applaud you for sticking it out for so many years.
Well, and over the years, there have been different events, and they come from people's input into youth activities. And so
Exactly.
many times they will come to us and say, we've got an activity that we think is a positive activity for kids. And so we blend that into the Junior Orange Bowl family. Over a period of time, those volunteers, children may get older and move on to other things, and they may not be as involved in Junior Orange Bowl, and that's fine. And so you may see over a period of 20 years that there are events that have come and gone, and that's part of life.
Yeah.
And so at one point in time, like I say, when I was the president, we had 21 different events.
Yeah. But
This
racquetball,
year,
remember we had the World Racquetball, but then they changed the venue. We got the venue. We got the city taken away from us. But gymnastics,
there was an equestrian event. There's been gymnastics events. There's been youth football events. There's a variety of events that have been with us over periods of time that are not currently in our portfolio.
But then we added events.
But
robotics.
We've added
It's
robotics,
huge.
And so that's just the nature of volunteering and serving the community.
Yeah.
Is that as new needs come up, you step in and you provide something for the kids.
So it's funny. I remember when I was executive director, people would come to me with ideas, and I go, "Okay, this is a great idea. How are we going to fund it?" And so I tell people, if you're really interested in doing something, take it to the Junior Orange Bowl. If you can fund it, it's something they'll consider, but it needs to be funded because.
Well, and you bring up a good point, because sponsorships are key to us being able to do what we do.
Of course.
You can volunteer all day long, but there are activities that require financial resources. And one of the things that we've been very fortunate in, and it's a good time to mention, there are multiple sponsors at multiple levels. The city of Coral Gables has been the home for the Junior Orange Bowl and a sponsor of the Junior Orange Bowl. Miami-Dade County, the Orange Bowl Committee has sponsored us. Nicholas Children's Hospital financially sponsors us, as well as providing their personnel at our events.
Which is a huge
Their
donation.
personnel are going to be at our basketball event too.
Mhm.
Again, our Miami Kiwanis Youth Foundation has been a big sponsor of ours. First Horizon Bank, Charter America Holdings, which is my company, my owner has contributed to sponsor us. BNY Mellon, JP Morgan Bank, and Goldman Sachs. Those are my core sponsors for the Junior Orange Bowl basketball event.
Yeah. So, we couldn't. You really couldn't do it without the sponsors. And I was trying to think. There was somebody else that got involved. Anyway, we just had the Junior Orange Bowl parade.
Yes.
Which was amazing. After kind of a year hiatus, it was so nice to see it come back and bigger the better than ever. And they had Jonathan. I always forget his last name. The Jeopardy champion, Fisher, Jonathan Fisher, who's a local kid who did so well, and he's going to be in the Tournament of Champions. And then they're just coming up next week. Guess who I got? J.R. Steinbauer, chair of the International Golf Invitational, and that's had the likes of Tiger Woods and I'm trying. All of a sudden, I'm drawing a blank, but Garcia. There's so many.
Garcia, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many great players that have come through that tournament, and
actually,
it's free.
The tennis event is finishing up tomorrow. Actually, it's ongoing now at 3 different sites: the Biltmore,
Yeah,
the Kurt Center over at the Biltmore.
Yeah,
Then
well,
you've got
Barbara and
Crandon
Abby
Park.
Dresnick were just my guests
Right.
last week.
at Crandon Park, and then Salvador Park in Coral Gables.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it's almost time to wrap this up. I want to thank you so much for coming. Next week, like I said, I've got J.R. Stein there coming on. Talked about Junior Orange Bowl tennis, free. You can go see some great future stars in the making. And again, thank you again, South Florida PBS. Sign up. You won't regret it. And I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and stay safe and enjoy your family.